When the attacks in Israel began Saturday morning, a volunteer group was leading New York City police officers on a trip to the country. The group visiting Israel went into a bunker at their hotel about 12 miles from the Gaza border. They have since made it back to New York City. Now, Richard Priem, who was one of the people leading that trip, joins us now. He's the CEO of Community Security Service, the organization that partners with law enforcement and provides security training for Jewish communities. Talk to us, if you may, about just what you witnessed, what happened.
So we went to Israel with a group of around 30 senior law enforcement officers from the New York metropolitan area, co-led with our partners at the Jewish Federations of New York. And we were going to go there to learn about anti-Semitism, to learn about the threats that the Jewish community faces, and to foster collaboration even more between our organizations and local law enforcement.
So you got there on Friday.
We arrived there on Friday,
what happened
the day before. So we had our arrival, we came to the hotel, we had a few hours of relaxing, and we told everyone, get rested, because tomorrow the program is going to start. Instead of my alarm waking me up, it was a siren. From 6:30 onwards, all we had to do throughout the day is run to the shelter. It started basically nonstop. You have 15 seconds to get there. And I would say the first few alarms that went off, you could clearly see that the people in Israel have dealt with this before. They were walking normally, joking, not taking it too seriously. They thought, oh, this is probably part of one of the drills. Right. But as information was trickling in, and as we realized that this was happening almost nonstop, people started taking it more seriously. I heard little kids looking at the window, seeing the rockets flying over, asking their mothers what's going on. We saw elderly people were eating in the breakfast area in the few minutes that there wasn't anything shot at us, trying to get up and rush and push over their glass because they only had so few seconds to get to the shelter. So very quickly we started to learn that this is not one of the attacks that we've read about on the news, we've seen on television, where Israelis have to run for shelter because a few rockets have been shot. It became very quickly clear to us
that it was far more serious.
So we basically arrived on September 10 in Israel.
You were with police officers. Did they make comments about that? I mean, there have been some comparisons. Maybe.
Yes, well, it definitely, several of the participants made the comment that this reminded them of what 9/11 did to the United States. And I remind you, these are New York area police officers. They know what they're talking about. And it was not just shocking in terms of the severity of the number of rockets, we also felt the building shake at times. We heard the explosions. We saw more soldiers coming in. We saw the anxiety on the faces of the people that we were talking with. We had our own responsibility to this group. What are we going to do? Are we going to sit here and shelter as we did, or are we going to try to get them out of the country?
And once it was clear that this was a far more serious attack than people might have been used to or expect, how were the people in Israel responding? What did you see?
So the law enforcement delegation took it extremely well. You could see that these are people who are committed to service, who care about the safety and security of the community. They were respectful to everyone. They listened to instructions. They were proactive. They were thanking people. They were fantastic. It was really humbling for us to be able to lead such an amazing group.
And in terms of unity, I mean, we've seen such political divisions over the last several months. What was the response you saw from the ground?
Something dramatic happened. When these rockets started flying, the hotel didn't have a lot of security. There was quite a lot of anxiety around us, but slowly more and more soldiers started appearing. And when there was the moment that we felt now we can take them out to safety, and we drove to the airport because we had managed to get a route back to New York via Dubai, and we had to get to the airport, we saw next to the road, we saw hundreds and hundreds of empty cars parked next to the road. And I asked the bus driver, what are these cars doing there? And he said, there's a military base over there, and all those cars you see are reservists.
That's this photo we're seeing now?
Yes, that's the photo.
That's not traffic of evacuations.
That's me taking the photo from the front of the bus, and I saw a mother getting out of one of the cars, opening the door for her two sons, grabbing their backpacks, showing up. These are not conscription soldiers. These are people heeding the call to serve their country. And that level of unity, that level of commitment left a very, very deep impression on the law enforcement officials, because that's what they do. They're committed to the security of our country. And here they saw a population stepping up. And suddenly all the divisions we heard about in the months prior to us coming to Israel, about the political situation in Israel, the judicial overhaul, that went out of the door. The one overarching message we heard from everyone around us, that what had happened here, this mass targeting of civilians, where the perpetrators had apparently even practiced on a makeshift village about how to enter Israeli houses. That left a deep impression on the participants.
Tell me something. There's a lot of Americans that are, figuring out how to get back home. You were able to do it in a day. What advice do you have for people from the U.S. or other countries who are trying to leave Israel right now? Was that complicated?
So I think the most important thing that anyone needs to do if you're in Israel is reach out to the embassy, let them know where you are, ask them. They're very responsive. So that's a key thing. We had help because we were with such an important law enforcement delegation. There's an NYPD representative based in Israel who was very, very helpful for us in getting things done. And it allowed us to get out. But there were people at the airport pretty panicked trying to find tickets. There were also people coming back in because they wanted to report duty and help their teams and help protect their country.
Sure. Richard, Priem, thank you so much for your account. Appreciate it.
Thank you.